A big one for you. We've got a couple of things that are going to change everything for the 2024 election. This is huge. Number one, Trump has just come out, announced that if he wins presidency, he is going to move forward and get rid of all the sanctuary cities. He's going to deport all of the illegals. This is insane and the biggest change yet, because we have data that shows that a lot of these states, these swing states, used to be super red until they became sanctuary cities, and then for some reason they became blue Democrat, and they've been that ever since. We have the Secret Service, who has just admitted big time that it was their fault. They failed. They're going to hold people accountable. Yet when pressured and asked, they said nothing. They said, we're not going to announce names. We're not going to tell you who's getting fired. We're going to deal with it by ourselves, which makes you think, are they really going to deal with it? And also, Arizona is now going to allow 98,000 unverified people to vote in the 2024 election. Biden only won that state by 10,000 votes. This is insane. It's despicable. But do you think this is election interference? I've got the details for you in just a moment. Just want to say thank you to everybody that's watching. If you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. And if you don't mind, click the thumbs up like button. Really appreciate you all. And just want to say thank you to everybody that's watching. Thank you to all those that bless our family with the Super Chat donation. We are so grateful and thankful. And please, don't forget to join the True Life News family. The links are in the description to join. We've got some crazy news to get into, but let's go ahead and jump right on in.
Like the American people will have a lot to worry about. The Tax Foundation found that Kamala's tax plan would cost the U.S. economy nearly 800,000 jobs, and unemployment has been on the rise. But Trump, on the other hand, is considering policies that will help working class Americans. At his rally on Long Island earlier this week, he suggested a temporary cap of 10% on credit card interest rates to help the Americans that have been struggling because of Biden-Harris inflation. He also said no tax.
Let me tell you this. If there's anybody who's looking out for all of the middle class and lower income people, that's Trump, because the average interest rate right now is almost 20%. He's the one actually making real change.
On tips, no tax on Social Security, and the president keeps expanding out his tax breaks for hardworking Americans by saying, well, no tax on overtime either. Here with reaction, Louisiana Senator John Kennedy is with us. Words propose a co-sponsor the $93 trillion Green New Deal. That, to me, would end capitalism as we know it, on top of the largest tax increase in American history, including taxing unrealized capital gains. Again, that would end capitalism as we know it. That basically is Marxism, the way I understand it. I want to get your take on it, and the fact that they're saying to Kevin O'Leary, oh, just be happy, none of that's going to happen. Well, those are her stated policies. That's her in her own words. Are you saying don't believe what she says?
Well, Sean, I've read the vice president's plan, such as it is. Basically, her plan is let's do the dumbest thing possible that won't work. I don't know who wrote her plan. I don't hate anybody, but I wouldn't put that person in charge of a ham sandwich. The biggest economic problem facing America today is high prices.
Ain't that the truth?
And those high prices were caused by the policies of President Biden and Vice President Harris.
Yes.
What's her plan to lower those prices? Number one, price controls. Sure, let's follow Castro and Cuba and Venezuela and the former Soviet Union, all of which tried price controls, and all of which experienced higher prices and mass hunger.
Yes.
The second part of her plan is raise taxes. Ms. Harris wants to raise the top personal income tax rate. She wants to raise capital gains taxes. She wants to raise inheritance taxes. She wants to raise corporate income taxes. She wants to tax unrealized capital gains for the first time in American history. She even wants to tax wealth. And she believes we're one tax increase away from prosperity. I don't know.
Let me tell you this. For all those people that support one of the dumbest taxes ever is the inheritance tax. So you mean to tell me I got to bust my butt all my life and make money for me and my family, and then whenever it's my time to go, I pass it on to them, and now you want to tax them for the money that you've already taxed me? Tell me that there are some things that the government does that is just crooked and corrupt and money hungry.
Economist that who is or which has said it will work. The Tax Foundation did a very careful analysis. As you said, the Tax Foundation says that Ms. Harris's plan will cost us about 800,000 jobs. It'll shrink the economy about 2%. It'll cut wages at least 1.2%. And in my judgment, it'll also cause prices to go even higher. I mean, you know, this plan is like a rock, only dumber.
You know, if you raise corporate taxes, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think corporations pay taxes. Any increase in taxes will be passed on to consumers. If you double the capital gains tax and you tax unrealized capital gains, by the way, good luck trying to figure that out, be it a real estate investment or an investment in the stock market. I find this madness. By the way, and if you pay taxes on gains and eventually you don't realize them because the stock goes down or the property value goes down, do you get your money back? I think that would be a question we need an answer to. And then you add the Green New Deal to it. I don't see how this economy could hold up. Every time socialism, Marxism, whatever you want to call it, whatever manifestation it has taken on, has ever been tried, it always ends the same way. Unfulfilled promises and more poverty and a loss of freedom that you give up in the name of false security. Am I wrong, Senator?
No. If you corner President Biden's Treasury officials, even they will admit that these high prices are permanent. The only way
100%
to deal with these high prices is to grow out of them. 5,000 years of human experience demonstrates that you can't increase personal wealth, you can't increase a country's wealth without increasing output. Ms. Harris's plan is to reduce output. She wants to tax people, she wants to tax businesses so they have less money to spend and invest. When you tax something, you get less of it. Duh.
See, but this is what bothers me so bad. So, Camp Goer 1, you had a great comment. What I said about the inheritance tax, you said you have to put everything in their name before you pass, Joel. Do an upon death deed for your home, put bank account in their kid's name as well. Yes, you have to, but why do you have to? The government is so dang money hungry. They got to try to get their hands in everything that you do. They want to have a piece of every single thing that you make. And it's why they always want more and more and more. And we need to get somebody in there that's going to cut that off. Put Elon Musk in there. Cut out all the fat of the government. Because if you cut out all the fat of the government, you don't need as much taxes. You let people have back their own money. But we live in such a dang corrupt society when it comes to taxes that we just disregard anything that comes new. Tracy J. Norby, hey, you're one of the best. She said, thank you, Joel. Keep doing all the good work you've been doing. Great news you're giving us. Thank you. Hey, I've got you. Everybody, show Tracy some love in the chat because I'm telling you this. There's some more things that are coming out that is mind-blowing, but we got some good news for you in a moment. Check this out.
Institutions and organizations are collapsing everywhere, and smart people just don't trust them anymore. Now, I noted at the end, feel free to add to this growing list because I don't want you to think this was it. the media, FBI, DOJ, IRS, COVID scientists, medical associations, scientific associations, bond rating agencies, environmental scientists, woke corporate America, teachers unions. There are hundreds more. But my brother, who doesn't reach out too often, he's working. He's an electrician up in New York, a union electrician up in New York. My brother's like, dude, you just nailed it with this tweet. Like, people just don't trust these people. We just don't trust you.
You can't trust them anymore.
I bring this up.
Let me tell you this. You can't trust somebody who takes more and more of your money, and we're almost $36 trillion in debt. Money is what pays for our livelihoods, our kids, our families. And we give them so much taxes, and we're this much in debt because they don't know how to manage their own money. And that's why with the Secret Service, everything you're about to see, they got to earn back our trust.
Because not that we trusted DHS before, we never did under the Biden administration. But after yesterday's hearing,
right here,
where a Customs and Border Protection official absolutely blew the whistle on what's happening with terrorists and drugs at the border, it's not good enough to not trust them. We need to get a president in there, hopefully DJT, that is going to fire everyone involved with this calamity and start over. I want you to listen to this guy talk about what happened when they found SIAs, basically people suspected of terror at the border. Mm-hmm. You think like they deported them, right? Good luck. Here, check this out.
In San Diego, we had an exponential increase in significant interest aliens. These are aliens with significant ties to terrorism. Prior to this administration, the San Diego sector averaged 10 to 15 SIA arrests per year. Once word was out the border was far easier to cross, San Diego went to over 100 SIAs in 2022, well over that in 2023, and even more than that registered this year. These are only the ones we caught. At the time, I was told I could not release any information on this increase in SIAs or mention any of the arrests. The administration was trying to...
So you mean to tell me you go from 10 to 11 in a year to over 100 and you're told you can't say nothing? The Biden and Harris administration needs to sit before Congress and the Supreme Court and answer for this.
Convince the public there was no threat at the border. Fentanyl is another issue. The San Diego area sees between 80 and 90% of the methamphetamine and fentanyl seizures annually for our entire country. With little enforcement at the border, these drugs were coming through in mass. During my last year in San Diego, the price for a single pill of fentanyl, for example, went from $10 to 25 cents. To make matters worse, during 2022 and 23, I had to shut down San Diego traffic checkpoints, which are critical for drug interdiction, because the resources had been diverted to the process and release mission.
So SIAs, which is apparently their internal jargon for terrorists, and drugs were flowing across the border. And the Biden administration's first inclination was to tell these guys to shut their pie holes about it and not tell anyone, while drugs and terrorists were piling across our border. Folks, how the are you voting for Kamala Harris? How are you voting?
That right there should remove her from being able to run for president.
I don't understand how you're just not simply voting against her. Even if you hate Donald Trump, how the hell are you saying to yourself, okay, I can tolerate 4 more years. His last 4 years were pretty good. I maybe didn't like him, but I can get past my emotions for 4 more years. But I can't have drugs pouring in my community and terrorists. How are you voting for this woman? The joy. How are you voting for her? How? Folks, I've had to hold my nose a lot because the alternative was worse. Republicans are stuck doing it all the time because we can't vote Democrat. They're communists. So we get stuck with Jeff Flakes and Mitt Romneys. But we got to go out and do it because the opposite is even worse. We live in the real world. And we can get rid of them, which we did. Flake is gone and Romney's gone. I'm not voting for a communist, even though Romney sucks. How is it that Kamala fake supporters, because there's no real supporters, because they don't know what they're supporting, she doesn't say anything. How is it they're not saying the same thing? You're listening to a Border Patrol official blow the whistle on Capitol Hill about an enormous scandal, terrorists and drugs piling across the border, and the Biden team hiding it, and you're voting for more of this? I don't get it. I genuinely don't get it. Even if your goal is to destroy America, you at least want to, you have some kind of mercenary goal in it, at least, right? To profit from. How do you profit from this? terrorists and drugs, unless you're a drug dealer or an actual terrorist. Folks, institutions are collapsing everywhere. I want you to, listen, I need you to put down what you're doing for a second, unless you're driving, holding small children, sharp weapons, or heavy machinery, okay? This is a really, really important segment. Guy was joking about this article, but it's an important one. Folks, if we lose this election, we are at an inflection point right now. I want you to understand this is not a normal election. We have a technology out there. Please, I hope this is coming across. And if I'm beating this to death, I'm sorry, but I still don't think people understand. There is a technology out there called artificial intelligence that over the next 4 years is going to come to dominate society like the internet did.
Big time.
You understand nothing is going to be the same? Did you see this latest iPhone update? Eye tracking, Siri can like finish your sentences now. Do you understand in 4 years, this is going to be geometrically more advanced technology? You think the eye tracking on your iPhone is bad? Wait till you go out in public and every single thing you look at in the street has you eye tracked. Oh, look, he stopped and look.
And look at this. Remember, in the UK, in London, they're very, very liberal cities, very progressive. That's how Kamala Harris and them are. You know, in London, they've got cameras at almost every single place you go to. They watch what you do. They see what you buy. They see everything. We don't need that here in America.
Did a Victoria's Secret ad. Oh my gosh, let's him in. He must be looking for lingerie for his wife or something. Gee, that never happens. This is going to be everywhere.
Everywhere.
Oh, no, it's not, Dan. Yes, it is. And who do you think's going to be vacuuming up all this information? That's right. The Kamala Harris government, if she wins. Get your attention with the Victoria's Secret thing? Let me go where I wanted to go with it. You're walking down the street. There's a gun shop or a pawn shop. There's some government camera somewhere. Oh, that'll never happen. It's not like China does that now. You stop at the window. Camera notices your eyes tracking a couple of firearms. You don't think you're going to find yourself on a list? No. Ooh. It's not like they're inventing technology that does that kind of stuff. It's not like they're inventing technology. It's going to scour online for conservative content, label it disinformation. Oh, look, reclaim the net.
Right here.
Lockheed Martin develops a system to identify and counter online disinformation. Prototype by DARPA. You know DARPA? Helped create the early internet? You understand what this project is, right? This project has nothing to do with disinformation. This project has to do with a mass AI-based censoring content online. Disinformation, I don't know what Lockheed's doing. I can tell you what the government's going to do with it.
Ooh. Right here.
We lose this election, folks, and you vote your way into socialism.
This is where we're heading. We head into socialism. You can kiss America goodbye. But I'm telling you this, it all boils down to the votes. It all boils down to where is the votes coming from and who are they for. But this is the big thing a lot of people don't know. You can do your own research. All the major blue cities that always stay blue and democratic, they're all sanctuary cities. And when did they become sanctuary cities and stay blue and democratic? Is whenever they became it. Now, watch, this is the biggest thing ever to happen across the United States that would guarantee the elections are changed forever. Republicans would win a whole lot more.
Today, I'm announcing a new plan to end all sanctuary cities in North Carolina and all across our country. No more sanctuary cities.
This is huge.
Uncle Sam, do you agree? Uncle Sam agrees. I had a feeling you would, right? You're great. As soon as I take office, we will immediately surge federal law enforcement to every city that is failing, which is a lot of them, to turn over criminal aliens, and we will hunt down, capture every single gang member, drug dealer, rapist, murderer, and migrant criminal. that is being illegally harbored. Every one of the top 25 worst cities are Democrat-run cities. We will get them out of North Carolina, and we will send them home where they belong. I will ask Congress to pass a law outlawing sanctuary cities nationwide, and we will bring down the full weight of the federal government on any jurisdiction that refuses to cooperate with ICE and these are great patriots, ICE and Border Patrol and our great Border Patrol.
This is huge.
They're not allowed to do their job. They want to do their job. They're not allowed. Within 2 years, there will not be one single foreign criminal gang operated in North Carolina or anywhere else. You have a lot of gangs. Hate to say it, you have a lot of gangs in this state. Are there any gang members in the audience, please? Would you please raise your hand? So that's the choice. Kamala Harris will fly criminal migrants into every one of your cities and towns. Did you see that? They're saying, well, we've decided to get tough on crime. You know, like 2 weeks ago, because they want to try and get some votes because they're not doing so good. This issue is not a good one for them.
Not at all.
But did you see? And then we learned that they're flying them in beautiful, big, fat, beautiful Boeing aircraft, just like that one, with more seats, actually. I have fewer seats in mine than they do. But they fly them in with beautiful aircraft. They fly them all over the country by the hundreds of thousands. They're flying in over the border. So they don't want to stop them because they're continuing the flights into our country. I will get every migrant criminal out of our country, and I'll get them out fast. We have to. We have no choice.
I love that. What he says is we got to end sanctuary cities. We got to get rid of this. They literally allow people to break the law in coming into the United States, not following the process, and just because it's a sanctuary state, oh, we can't do nothing to them. They're good. Don't worry about it. It is wrong. It's against the law. And the states that have stood for it, they need to pay for it. Because what have they been doing? Flying so many hundreds of thousands into the United States. But you know, there's a lot of talk right now with the Secret Service. There's a lot of talk about they finally have taken accountability that it was their fault for Butler. Not duh. But they won't tell us anything, and it gets even worse. Check this out.
Okay, so employees are going to be held accountable. Are we going to get the names of these agents that almost got Trump killed? No.
You said we were now moving into the accountability phase of this Butler investigation. You did not want to discuss names of who might be punished, so to speak, but can you give us more detail, at least maybe how many people would face punishment or repercussions for what happened in Butler, at what levels of the organization those people represent, and what level of punishment, again, they may face?
So again, I can't comment on this. This is a personnel matter that is still pending. What I will tell you is that I have not asked for anybody to retire.
Wow.
How are we supposed to trust the Secret Service to investigate themselves if they won't even tell us who they're investigating? Thankfully, whistleblowers are leaking. The New York Times is reporting the lead agent in charge of security at the Butler rally is Meredith Bank. Primetime looked all over the internet for information about Meredith Bank. No photos, no bio, it's all gone. Now,
do y'all think that's by coincidence that they can't find anything about Meredith Bank? Nope. It's all by design. They know what they're doing.
we don't know how qualified Agent Bank is. Was she one of the female agents that former director Kimberly Cheadle was promoting with her DEI agenda? We don't know. Was she one of the female agents that was promoted even after failing tests? We don't know. But Butler was a test, and she failed it.
Big time.
A local SWAT team commander says there was really no direction for Miss Meredith Bank. Secret Service asked for 2 snipers, but never told Butler officials where they wanted them posted. So when locals said, hey, Agent Bank, there's a roof with a direct line of sight to the stage, should someone cover that? Bank passed the buck, said some other unit probably has it covered. This jives with what whistleblowers told Senator Hawley.
This individual, the site agent, the lead agent, was known to the Trump campaign to be inexperienced, to be ineffectual, to be frankly incompetent at their job. Well, I'm also told by whistleblowers that on that day, she was not enforcing the normal security protocols. She was not checking people's IDs. She did not use Secret Service agents. Most of the agents there that day were not Secret Service agents. They were Homeland Security agents. And get this, Jesse, most of them had never worked a rally before. And yet this is who she chose to staff the event with, and she didn't train them or integrate them. From top to bottom, it was a total disaster.
During the walkthrough, locals thought Meredith's team was disorganized. Locals notified 2 of Meredith's female agents, saying they didn't have enough assets to secure the AGR building.
Wow.
Meredith's agents told him, don't worry about it, we have it handled. But obviously it wasn't handled. And the question is why? Where were they? Obviously, it never showed up. Those 2 female agents were named by the New York Times. Mayasati Perez and Dana Dubray. They're already lawyering up, which is weird. And one of them has retained Mark Zaid. Secret Service agent Dana Dubray has hired the attorney who represented the CIA whistleblower in Trump's first impeachment. The Ukraine phone call. Joe Biden's CIA buddy who worked with Adam Schiff to trigger impeachment hearings? Yeah, him. He was also the attorney for Vindman, the brother, the Ukrainian army officer who went to war with Trump. He's been involved with litigation around January 6th, Hillary's emails, Princess Diana's death, and even the JFK assassination. Some have accused Zaid of being a CIA plant. Why is a Secret Service agent involved in the Trump assassination attempt hiring an anti-Trump deep state lawyer? What's his agenda? He told Primetime, my role here is to simply ensure fingers are not pointed in the wrong directions and only the true facts emerge. So that's Butler. Now let's go to West Palm Beach, where the Secret Service is congratulating themselves for a job well done.
The former president is getting tactical assets. He's getting everything that the former president, that the current president has with respect to Secret Service assets.
If he did, the golf course would have been secure in West Palm Beach. Can you tell people what's going on with that?
No shot was fired at the former president. The former president was not exposed to where he was on the golf course. And what I've said, and I said this Monday, that the procedures work, the redundancies work, so that high level of protection is working.
It works until it doesn't work. It works to do a half job until it doesn't work, until somebody gets hurt. Because if they would have followed the protocol, they would have went through the entire perimeter and they would have found him. That's as blatant and as frank as you can get. That he was hiding there for 12 hours. They would have found him. This would never even have been an issue whatsoever.
Ukraine fanatic with a scoped rifle getting this close to the president isn't working. What's changed from Butler to West Palm? Agents didn't man the roof, and then agents didn't man the gaping hole in the fence.
Why did no one within the U.S. Secret Service sweep behind that fence line for threats?
They were sweeping ahead, Nicole. So what I just explained is that that lead element was going ahead, sweeping.
But was there anyone behind the fence where the road was, sweeping there to see if anyone was in the bushes?
Having been there and seen the vantage point, whether they were on the public side or the private side, the bottom line is the individual was detected.
Wow.
Trump got lucky again.
Yes, he did.
But he's not a cat. He doesn't have 9 lives. No one's been fired. They're hiding agents' names, stonewalling Congress, and asking for more money and patting themselves on the back. And now a suspicious anti-Trump CIA whistleblower lawyer is defending Secret Service agents.
And that's where we're at. How is it? Remember, Afghanistan botched withdrawal. Nobody got fired. Butler, Pennsylvania, they allowed her to resign. She didn't get fired. This second time, they allowed this person to get close. They didn't even follow their protocols. Nobody gets fired. What is with this administration and the people that people aren't ever held accountable? We don't know. And right now, when I look at this entire election, you've got Donald Trump, Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris is about as empty as a vase. It is insane that this person is actually has a chance to be the president of the United States, that tells you how bad we are. Look at this.
Questions about the economy and the border. It even forced Oprah at one point to swoop in and bail her out.
Yours is a story I hear around the country as I travel. And in terms of both rightly having the right to have aspirations and dreams and ambitions for your family.
What would be specific steps to strengthening the border?
So it's a wonderful and important question. You know, my background was as a prosecutor.
So to answer Justin's question, now that that bill has gone and hasn't passed, will you
Do you see this? What are the specific steps you're going to do to help ensure the border? Well, I've been a prosecutor. Okay, what does that have to do with the border? Like, people that still vote for her after seeing this interview, they need our prayers, people.
reduce that?
Absolutely.
Okay, Greg.
Yes.
All right. So,
Wow.
Did you hear Oprah having to intervene as Kamala was rambling on about, I was a prosecutor. I grew up in a middle-class family, and she says, how about you answer Justin's question?
Yeah, it's an interesting contrast. You had Oprah and Kamala, Trump and Gutfeld. Yeah. It's just a natural comparison. On my show, we were having a great time. It was honest, it was clear, and it was specific, it was real. But when you were watching that, you have to pay attention to Oprah's face. You saw a look of pain. Like she's trying to figure out in real time, how do you manage this train wreck? It was friendly. There was no question it was friendly. But it was like she was talking to somebody that she wanted to break free from at a party, and you're sitting on the couch, and let's say your friend left you with his wife, and she might be a little drunk, and you're kind of like going, yep, okay, got to get going. And it was all on Oprah's face. Now, there are people who watched that last night and loved it the way people watched Trump on my show and loved it. So no matter what you say about Kamala, it has as much effect as what Kamala fans will say about Trump. It's the same.
Always.
But with Harris, you got to ask, okay, what do people see in this? Is this organic? Is it real? I mean, they went from not caring her at all to adoring her. She went from zero to hero and nothing flat. I was thinking about this, and I think I figured this out. What's behind this? Why does she not need to talk about issues or policies or make complete sentences or make complete sense? The people voting for Trump are expecting him to act. The people voting for Kamala, the vote is the act. So that is why specifics, policy, solutions, they don't matter. The vote itself is the only platform they need. You pull the lever, you feel good, then you're back to your world watching The View. This explains why she can show up and not say a thing, because the support was anticipatory. They're embracing the candidate, and that was enough. Issues, specifics are not necessary. Trump supporters, however, are voting on the condition that Trump will do something specific, whether it is on crime, the border, and the economy. The vote itself isn't enough. It's the beginning. It's the beginning of a process. For him, it has to be deeds. For her, all it has to be is words, because the vote is the only thing that matters. The people that vote for her will then go away. They will not be following politics the way Trump supporters do. They never do.
You know, Greg says that they show up and she doesn't say a thing. But what's interesting is he's right, because 25% of the people who didn't know anything about her policies, originally it was 28, after all these interviews, 2, 3, 25.
Juan Morales, thank you so much for the super chat. He said, may God protect President Trump. MAGA, great job, Joel. Thank you. Hey, everybody, show Juan some love in the chat. Look, guys, we got to stay together, and I just want to say I appreciate everybody that's watching and all the support. We're going to make a change.
Still don't know what she thinks. And she just personalizes everything. Tell us about the border. The answer is I'm a prosecutor. Tell us about the economy. I'm middle class. Are we ever going to get an answer to a question?
It's a good question. I don't know.
A wonderful question.
I don't know.
Let me tell you this. What she always does is she tries to take the eye off the issue and put it on herself. Let me tell you about myself. Let me tell you about me. Let me tell you that when it's not about you, this is the problem with politics. You know what I love that Trump has done more than I think any other president is how many policies have you heard him say, we're going to do this for you. We're going to take taxes off Social Security for you. We're going to take taxes off tips for you. We're going to cap the interest rates for you to help you out because we know you need help. Kamala Harris just wants you to tell you about how she's a middle-class kid and people like their lawns and she was a prosecutor because she has nothing to tell you. But this is where it's at. They are worried right now. Democrats it's been leaked. They are afraid. They are worried because of this huge thing that happened. Check this out.
Democrats reportedly in panic mode, privately worrying Trump could shatter the blue wall after the Teamsters' non-endorsement of Kamala Harris. Politico reporting, quote, the Teamsters withholding an endorsement from Harris this week after internal polling showed most respondents backing Trump is sparking fresh concerns that the GOP nominee could have higher than expected support among union members, especially men. Here with reaction, Fox News contributor Mark Thiessen. Mark, great to see you this morning. I think that Trump's win in the union, that's obvious even if it doesn't accompany an endorsement from the Teamsters. The question I think for everyone now is that indicative of a wider movement in areas where unions are strong, like Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, that are the key to winning the presidency?
I think it very much is. Look, Donald Trump has made the Republican Party the party of the working class.
Yes.
And the union leadership just hasn't caught up. I mean, he won the poll of Teamsters members 60-30. You would think that would mean he gets their endorsement, too. But they didn't endorse him even despite that. They should have given him their endorsement if they were Democratic. The UAW admits their leadership admits that Donald Trump has the support of most of their members, but they endorse Kamala Harris. So I think these unions have not caught up with the American people because the Republican Party under Donald Trump is now the party of the working class, and I think those people are going to come out for him in November.
Yeah, everything is about Pennsylvania. Does this tell us something that might happen in Pennsylvania that's not yet showing up in the polls? Or at least not fully showing up in the polls. Meanwhile, who's running America as we speak?
This is
Joe Biden held his first cabinet meeting in a year, Mark. That's stunning. And there was a prominent role. There was a prominent role for the First Lady. Watch.
Today at the top of our meeting, Jill's going to give an update on the House initiative, White House initiative to fundamentally change the approach and fund how we approach and fund women's health services. So I'd like to turn it over to Jill and for any comments she has, and it's all yours, kid.
Thank you. You know, sometimes the White House surprises you. When Joe...
Do y'all see this? Let me tell you this, because this isn't normal. Usually, your president is going to sit at the head of the table. He's going to see everybody, run the meeting. But right now, the first cabinet meeting that they have in 11 months, and Joe Biden is at the head leading off the meeting. Is she the one running the country right now? Have we already had our first woman president? Let me know your thoughts.
President, I knew I wanted to keep shining a light on the issues that I'd worked on for so many years.
Pretty unusual, Mark, especially when people are wondering how on the job is Biden.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, they're not even pretending it anymore. We're in full Edith Wilson
territory right now.
They're not even pretending. Look, the First Lady doesn't have a job. She's not an official. She's not an elected official. She's not a member of the White House senior staff. Though I remember when Hillary Clinton was First Lady, she actually had a West Wing office. In fact, I know that because it was later my office. I was the only person in the West Wing who had a full-length mirror in his office because of Hillary Clinton. But even then, she didn't take a seat at the cabinet table until she became Secretary of State under Obama. So this is quite unprecedented. And a lot of people on the left are saying, well, Ivanka Trump addressed a cabinet meeting once. Well, it's different. Ivanka Trump was a member of the White House senior staff. And at a cabinet meeting, the senior staff doesn't sit at the table. They sit at the chairs around the table, around the back. And sometimes they're called on to speak. And so, and they stand, and she addressed it. She didn't sit at the table. She addressed them standing up and gave a report on her area of responsibility. She didn't take a seat at the table like Jill Biden. I mean, it's just absurd.
It's also stating the obvious here. Joe looks different. I mean, I don't know if some of the cosmetics that have been done in the past are now ceased, that he's not running for president anymore, but we can see it in the video. I mean, we can all see it with our own eyes. Joe looks different.
He looks older. He looks not touched up. He didn't get a tan. He didn't whiten his teeth. I'm telling you this, like, what we saw there, I feel like is the truth. I feel like, unfortunately, Joe Biden has had too much influence in this presidential election and as over the president. But you know what? Things are about to change because we've got a government shutdown that's about to happen. I hope the Republicans stick to their guns. I've got an update for you from the chairman, Jim Jordan, on what's actually going on. Check this out.
One of the few representing our people, Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan. It's good to see you, sir, as always.
Good to be with you, Chris.
At the start of Speaker Johnson's speakership, he vowed to get Congress back to what we call regular order. But here we are, yet again, ruling by emergency with government telling us we must accept more harm to our people because the government's running out of money. Couldn't all of this been avoided if the House had just kept its promise, done the work by completing those 12 appropriations bills, and then turning it over to Chuck Schumer? And if Chuck Schumer continued his slothful and lazy ways, he would be 100% responsible for shutting down the government. Why didn't that happen?
Well, that's certainly the preferable way. We did pass 7 bills. The Senate has passed 7 of the 12 individual appropriation bills. But what this last bill was, this is how out of touch I think the Democrats are. This last bill, we even said, okay, we said, okay, from the Republican side, we'll agree to the current level of spending. You're right, Chris, too high. I don't like it, but we'll agree to that. But we want one thing on the bill that funds the government for short term, for the next 3-4 months. We want one thing on there, which is if someone new, some new voter is going to go register to vote, they should demonstrate that they're a citizen. And we want that because what has happened in 3.5 years? 10 million illegal migrants have come into the country. 99 of those 10 million were on the terrorist watch list. There's been this crazy temporary protective status program that's allowed several thousand, hundreds of thousands of migrants to come in under this program. 15,000 Haitians have come to Springfield, Ohio, and disrupted that community. So in that context, we think if you ask any American citizens, does it make sense to require people to prove they're a citizen before they go in the voter registration roll if they're a new voter? Everyone would say, well, yes.
Yes.
But the Democrats wouldn't even agree to that. 200 of them voted against it. So this is why we're in this.
So just to like pull it all in, the same with they literally were going to pass what the Democrats wanted to pass in terms of spending. But just because of one part that says, please verify that you're a citizen of the United States with proof before you vote, the Democrats said no. This just tells you they're trying to control the elections. The only way they can control them is to fly in hundreds of thousands of people, convert them into Democrats, or turn them into voters so that they can win, buying their votes with American taxpayer dollars.
This frustrating situation where we just wanted something basic, simple, common sense that everyone agrees with. We couldn't even get that.
Yeah, and folks, just so you know, the federal government has been hiding the actual data from us since they couldn't hide the massive illegal immigration. So I know the official number, Congressman, is 10 million, but it's likely upward toward 15 million new illegal aliens.
Wow,
again,
I agree.
Yeah, Joe Biden's been. Yeah, they've been hiding the data from us because, you know, they're harming us. As you heard from the outgoing Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, he says he will do anything the Democrats want to make sure the government continues to get my money and your money and our people's money. He's the longest serving Majority Leader and one of the ringleaders in this crippling inflation and historic debt that is retarding economic growth in this country. Isn't it time Republicans found a better message than, quote, anything the Democrats want?
Yeah, that's not exactly a strong negotiating position. But I will tell you this, I don't want to shut down. No one wants to shut down. I get that. but we also want to make sure our elections only citizens are voting. We also want to make sure that we have common sense policies in place. And I actually think that's what's really on the ballot this year. You got like the policies of President Trump versus the policies of Biden Harris. And we have something we very seldom get, Chris. Back-to-back administrations now running for the top job. You can compare. So that's what I want, the common sense, the policies. President Trump, we had a secure border. Currently, we have no border. President Trump, we had $2 gas. Currently, we have $4 gas. President Trump, we had safe streets. Currently, have record crime. President Trump, we had stable prices. Currently, we have record inflation. So that's what I want. The time to really have this fight, though, was a year ago. I mean, 13 months before an election, we were in the same situation. We should have fought hard then to get something that actually would fix our border situation. We tried. Unfortunately, we didn't get it done then either.
Well, Congressman, you took me right where I wanted to go, as you normally do, reading my mind. As I said in the lead up, a shutdown would be just, par for the course, proof positive that Washington is so inept, so corrupt, it can't even do the very basic of functions. Yet, Americans are wondering aloud why we should fund the corruption and ineptitude from the DOJ, FBI, IRS, Secret Service, who's allowed open season on the leading candidate for president. This government appears to have been weaponized against our people. So can you see why so many Americans, they wouldn't cry if this inept government shut down and stopped abusing us for a little while?
No, I do think that these agencies they're supposed to serve we the people. I think they've been turned against us. The very taxpayers they're supposed to serve, and you can go agency by agency. I mean, you mentioned the Secret Service. Where's Mayorkas been? I mean, Mayorkas has presided over this border situation, which is so bad. I haven't heard him say one thing since the assassination attempt on President Trump last weekend. I haven't heard him and he's the guy in charge of Homeland Security. He's the secretary, and Secret Service is part of that agency. Where's he been, for goodness sake? So, does the FBI deserve a new headquarters? This is something we fought against. Of course not. And yet that gets appropriated and put in some of these bills. So I agree with you. I think the people agree with you. And the people are going to get a chance to say here in just, 47 days, when I think they're going to make President Trump our next president.
I 100% believe, because remember, if Trump wins, Elon Musk comes in and he's going to be in charge of the Department of government efficiency. Reduce the fat, cut out all the extra spending, make government smaller, because it's not doing any good. Look, you can't keep feeding something if it's not working. We keep giving the government more tax money and we just keep getting more in debt. We have too much regulations. They are not held accountable to anything. This is why if it's not working, then you got to pull back. Just like if you were an investor and you put your money into some stocks and the stocks just keep going down for a long time, then most of the time it's time to just cut your losses, take it out and go do something else. I believe that's where we're at. With Trump saying that he wants to remove sanctuary cities, this would change everything. I would bet money that within 2 election terms, California would be red. Why? Because all the illegals that they keep bringing in, they push them to vote blue. But this is where we need government spending in check. I say, let me know your thoughts in the comments. They should shut the government down. Y'all can't figure this out. You can't control your spending. Y'all don't get raises. You don't get paid. Shut it down. Because the American people are tired of seeing these bureaucrats try to control everybody's lives, take more tax money, and yet they can't even do their own jobs. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Just want to say thank you to everybody that's watching. If you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. And if you don't mind clicking the thumbs up like button, it really does help to grow the channel. And just want to say thank you to everybody who has blessed us with the super chat. Tracy J. Norby, you are the best. You're awesome. We also want to thank Juan Morales. Thank y'all so much. Show them some love in the chat, everybody. And just want to say thank you to all of our new members of the channel. This world is crazy, but I believe we're going to do something great with this channel. I believe that we're going to take the funds that we're getting from the members, and we're going to show you in just a little bit that we're using that money for good. We're making positive change in this world. I am super passionate about taking action and not just sitting on the sidelines. I don't want to just report the news. I want to make the news, and I want to make good news, and this True Life family is going to make it happen. We love y'all. We thank y'all for all your support, and you know that we'll see you in the next one. Take care.